and they will be devoured by the problems. Their power will be devoured, and of course, Americans will suffer due to the rising inflation and interest rates, which will be together with unemployment.
Dr. Paul Craig Roberts got a break again. Come back and continue explaining that to people. Yeah, I mean, they supposedly all these trillions in TARP money, but now it's harder to get a mortgage. They're using the money to buy up other banks and insurance companies and having the government come in and order banks in their activities. So we'll talk about the whole Bank of America scandal when we get back with Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. I'm Alex Jones. Let me tell you a little bit about one of our great sponsors, HomeGain.com. This is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting any real estate questions answered. Go to HomeGain.com and see what I'm talking about. All you need to do is type in your home address, and you will get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. This is a great way to be able to monitor the value of your home. And again, it's absolutely free. There are tons of tools to help you. For instance, if you want to remodel your home, go to HomeGain.com. Use their Home Sale Maximizer to help you determine which home improvements can most increase your home's value before you put it on the market. For 10 years, these folks have been helping home sellers and buyers. Visit their link at Infowars.com. Look for Max, the orange HomeGain gorilla, to help you with any real estate needs you might have. You'll love this site. It's HomeGain.com, HomeGain.com. Check them out today. But right now I want to shift gears on one of the other big subjects he talks about, the police state. And again, he's a real conservative, father of Reaganomics, but we've had police shooting people in handcuffs in the back and then trying to claim they attacked them, and then hidden camera stuff gets released and they just shoot the guy for no reason. We have police shooting people's little dogs all over the news. When they come to your house now and the Chihuahua barks, they kill it, saying it was a threat to the officers, literally. And we've got the military and the police training everywhere. The TSA announced in the Associated Press yesterday that in Boston and New York, everyone will be searched, and everyone, I don't know how they're going to do this, but it says everyone, will be put through those body scanners, that are called, the naked scanners in the news that show your body, and that the FBI wants them to set up TSA-style security at America's biggest malls. And your book, The Tyranny of Good Intentions, I don't think it really is even good intentions, but it tells all these amazing stories and how the Bill of Rights is being abolished. The second edition's out right now, brand new. We got it up on screen for folks. And in the few minutes we got left in this little short segment, I mean, it looks like it's premeditated here as they implode the economy, and they've set up Northcom now, and they say they're going to use Army troops on us. But I don't see that working as society continues to implode. Can you speak to that?
Well, I mean, first of all, this couldn't possibly have anything to do with terrorists, because they haven't bombed any subways or any shopping centers. And as far as we can tell, the only terrorists that have been uncovered in the United States are people that the FBI stirred up and led and talked into doing things with promises of large sums of money. So since there aren't any terrorists, and the FBI has to go out and find really incompetent and somewhat unintelligent people to bribe with money to say that they want to go be a terrorist, then we're not under any attack. So there's no reason for any of this body scanning other than to further make the American people accept searches without warrants, because that's basically what they're doing to you. They're searching you without a warrant. Now, the claim on the air
yes, sir.
Travel is that, but you see, if you don't want to be searched, you don't have to fly. And since flying is so vulnerable, you're up in the air, and we can't have anybody a danger to the other passengers. Well, of course, going to malls is not that kind of argument at all. There's nobody up in the air. There's no vulnerabilities other than what you would find from being mugged or hit by a car or anything else when you go out. And so there's no special vulnerabilities. And so it has nothing to do with anything except training us to be good little citizens of a police state. Oh, yes. See, the next thing they will do then is say we have to have implants so they'll know where we are at all times.
They're already proposing that. The Mexican Attorney General made his employees take them 3 years ago.
Well, I don't know what's behind all this other than just bureaucracy running amok. I mean, we can look for conspiracies, but the trouble I always have with all these conspiracies is that it assumes that they're so much smarter than they ever show any signs of being.
I don't think they're even that smart. They have the instinct of control freaks.
Okay, they just, it's a bureaucracy that always wants more power. And
well, of course.
So if technology presents new opportunities, then they seize it and they use it. But I suppose people, if the American people were clued in, which unfortunately not very many of them are, they all need to listen to your show. But if they were clued in, then they could just boycott the malls. And then the malls.
And the subways and the rest of it.
Subways. You don't have to use. Subways is kind of harder, I guess, for New Yorkers because they got to be able to get around in a city that's. But you could certainly boycott the malls, and then that would contribute to the commercial real estate collapse, and people would probably make the government back off.
Well, as you know, sir, they've done studies. A lot of people don't fly now because they don't like having the illegal aliens that run security jab them and scream at them. I want to ask you about the MIAC and DHS reports we broke a few months ago, listing conservatives and people as terrorists and the whole In the Fed movement, where you see that going with auditing the Fed. Stay with us, sir. You know, we broke the MIAC report, the DHS report, and many others before that. We broke previous reports put out with the Feds. People wouldn't believe us. We broke that they had InfraGard a year before it was in the mainstream news, getting 56,000 executives with shoot-to-kill orders during martial law, ready to watch their employees. Now it's public. The clergy response teams, now over 40,000 of those we know of. And then it came on the news years after we had the secret documents saying, oh, yes, the clergy's preparing their flocks to hand in their guns, go to FEMA camps. And that's mainstream news. You can't make this up. I can't believe it myself. It's so crazy. And then now the DHS report comes out and says Ron Paul supporters, people that want to audit the Fed. We got the documents from the Army leaked to us, and the Army admitted it to the news that they were spying on Ron Paul in Houston and me in Dallas protesting the Fed last year and listed us as potential terrorists and told the military in plain clothes, Army intelligence, don't let them know you're military. They may kill you. That's posted on Infowars.com. I mean, this country's just got secret police all over it, and now they want to have secret arrests. They've said no more Bill of Rights, basically, no more Fourth Amendment, warrantless wiretappings, A-OK. The courts have ruled. The Congress has passed the law. And then, Dr. Roberts, I mean, you've been saying for years here on the air that they're gearing up to make the American people the enemy. Now they say in the DHS report the number one potential threat is veterans and gun owners and Ron Paul supporters. Give me your take.
Barr. Yeah, and Bob Barr supporters.
And Bob Barr. I mean, this is crazy. Your take on that?
Well, I think, it shows the brown shirt mentality that I've been writing about for several years. It shows how they've taken patriotism of people who are not particularly bright and turned it into a brown shirt mentality where they're prepared now to turn on anyone who can be demonized. And so the government is obviously going to demonize people who are associated with the defense of civil liberties. And that's who's being demonized. I mean, there you have Bob Barr and Ron Paul. And so, and it'll be the ACLU and it'll be libertarians in general, and anybody who says, hey, look, we have these rights, and it's illegal under statutory law and also unconstitutional for you in the government to violate these rights. So that is the enemy now. So anyone who is opposed to unbridled state arbitrary power is an enemy of America, and will soon be called terrorist or insurgents or something. And so that's what's happening. You're right to call attention to it. And that's exactly what's happened. The Founding Fathers would all be arrested as dangers to state power. So I think that's what we are faced with. And the one check to it, of course, is an armed population if they're prepared to use the arms. But, of course, the kind of guns we have are not very powerful compared to what the state can wield. And the other check to this development we're discussing, I call it the brown shirt movement, is that the government overreaches